Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about video games. This is it. It's the last video of 2021, and today I'm going to be talking about the games that released this year that I thought were the best. I do have a fair number to choose from. I played 49 games that released in 2021, and I finished 39 of them. I will put them up on screen real quick if you want to take a look at that list. Before I get to my top 10, there are just a few honorable mentions that I want to give a quick minute to. Grime is a Metroidvania with one of the most unique and appealing art styles I've seen in a while. You play a man made of stone who has a black hole for a head. Combat is deliberate and challenging, making use of a parry mechanic to absorb the attacks of your enemies and return the damage back to them. It has a fantastic upgrade system, also relying on absorbing your enemies. My enjoyment of this game is only at odds with my dislike of playing platformers on PC. Hopefully it'll come out on Xbox next year. Chicory, A Colorful Tale is an endearing game that uses the power of painting to solve puzzles, explore, and make the world a more beautiful and interesting place. It combines top-down adventuring with some really cool boss fights and has a banging soundtrack. The puzzles are of an ideal difficulty and feel really good to solve, and the story is very heartfelt. Even if you're not artistically inclined, and I'm certainly not, this game is a charming good time. Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights is a dark fantasy Metroidvania where a variety of spirits fight for you, giving you all kinds of options for your fighting style. From large hammer-wielding giants, quick sword-wielding knights, and sorceresses who hurl fireballs. The world is full of interesting and useful secrets to find, and some really challenging zones and boss fights. I do have a full review video of this one up, if you want to check it out. Alright, on to the top 10 now. This first one is a game I started playing on stream, and it ended up being one of the funniest games of the year. It's an airport for aliens currently run by dogs. Strange Scaffold's dog airport game lets you play as one of the last two surviving humans in the galaxy. The other is your fiancé, and you meet up at airports as she's always traveling, working on some secret project. The airports, as mentioned, are run by dogs. You can talk to them all, even pet them. These dogs are hilarious and just so dog-like in their earnestness. They happily serve you what they have on offer, whether it's a gigantic cup of coffee, one of their too many cabinets, or chocolate donuts that they can't even eat themselves. And they also ask for things from you. Maybe a pair of delicious shoes, or a bottle of artisanal toilet water. They often want bribes before you can board a plane, and the pilots are all drunk, because flying is pretty scary for a dog. They're never short on honest, hilarious, and eye-opening observations about both themselves and humans. They're all just really good dogs. Aside from the ridiculous dog interactions, there's also a heartfelt story about human connection, how people come and go throughout your life, the fear of losing them, and the joy of briefly meeting up again in these dog-run airports. Number 9 is a game that puts you at odds with not only monsters, but also time. It's Unsighted. Unsighted by Studio Pixelpunk is a top-down action game where you need to balance your desire to explore the world with the knowledge that time is limited. You wake up not really remembering who you are, and soon find out that your life force, along with that of everyone you meet, is constantly ticking down. A limited item called meteor dust will sustain you, or someone else for a while, but you have to use it wisely. I love games that force you to make hard choices, and deciding which characters in your story slipped away and which you wanted to save for as long as possible is just the kind of stress I like. Unsighted has a really slick combat style, which includes a very satisfying parry. Boss fights put your mastery of the controls to the test. And, importantly, the world is full of shortcuts and clever puzzles, giving you more access as you get new weapons and traversal abilities. This is the kind of game that's meant to be played more than once, as you can learn the map and get faster and save more people. Or you can just live with your first result, knowing that you couldn't save everyone. Number 8 does something truly unique in terms of how you control and experience the story. It's Before Your Eyes. Before Your Eyes was developed by GotY World Games and is a game you control with your webcam. You play a character looking back on your life as you're ferried to the next one. The flow of the narrative is controlled by your blinking. You see small memories of events throughout your life, and when you blink, it's on to the next one. The story is an emotional one, filled with joy and heartbreak. Relationships are formed and broken. Parents celebrate you while at the same time imposing their own expectations, hopes, and disappointments. You discover your own path, your own dreams, but also may not be brave enough to chase them. I often found myself straining to keep my eyes open during certain scenes. I wanted to see just a little bit more, but you can only not blink for so long. You can't stay in one moment forever. And during some of the most emotional times, blinking back tears meant they went by so fast. This is a great interactive story that went in directions I was not expecting and really used the blink mechanic to enhance it all and drive home its meaning. The next game, number 7, is from a long-standing series that I've only dabbled with in the past. I tend to be pretty wimpy when it comes to horror games, but I could not say no to Hot Lady Vampires, or Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village is by Capcom. It continues the story of Ethan Winters from the 7th game, which I don't know all that much about. But that's okay. Right at the beginning of the game, your baby daughter is kidnapped and you find yourself in a creepy village where lichens are murdering pretty much everyone. There are 2 main things I love about this game. I love the campiness. Seeing the cabal of villains argue over you when you get captured was a real treat. I only wish they all interacted more. But even one-on-one, most were a treat to observe and listen to. I also loved that the game is constantly changing things up. At times, it's an unnerving romp through an elegant castle being pursued by an 8-foot-tall woman who wants your blood. Then, it's an unarmed bit of puzzle solving and cat and mouse through a terrifying dollhouse that involves a giant fetus monster and vor. I had to mute the TV to get through this particular part of the game. The sound design is sometimes a bit too good. After this, it turns into a spooky action game and eventually an all-out power fantasy. Just when one aspect of Village starts getting comfortable, things change up and you get to experience something new. Number 6 is a great blend of dating sim and dungeon crawler. It's Boyfriend Dungeon. Developed by Kitfox Games, Boyfriend Dungeon is a somewhat bizarre but also thoroughly charming game. You've just moved to Verona Beach for the summer, and you're looking for a date. Or lots of dates. But also, you're often going into dungeons to fight monsters and make money. Oh, and people can turn into weapons who you wield in the dungeon, so you might be dating your sword, or your dagger, or both of them. It's fine, you're all into it. The gameplay loop here is really satisfying, mixing up simple dungeon combat where the things you fight represent your fears, and dates and conversations with all the people you've met, whether in person or via text. There's also inventory and crafting that lets you make gifts for people or new clothes and accessories for yourself. I loved the relationships in this game, and the dates you go on with each of the characters are so delightful. Even when you're in a dungeon, you'll come across locations like fountains or arcades. Here you'll get to talk to and deepen your relationship with whoever you've taken with you. And growing your relationships will also give you new abilities to use. I had a blast with this game and will definitely go back to it if more dungeons and dating options are added later. Number 5 is honestly quite a surprise for me. I never would have imagined that a racing game would end up on my Game of the Year list. But here we are, it's Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 5 by Playground Games is not the kind of game I typically go out of my way to play, but it was right there, free on Game Pass. This open-world racer is beautiful. It's the most impressive, realistic-looking game I've yet to play on this newest console generation. Of course, the cars look great, but aside from those, it's full of color and life in the environments you'll be racing through. The game has deserts, a tropical coast, a volcano you'll drive to the summit of, swamps, cities, towns, and even man-made tracks. I enjoyed all of these places while driving my increasingly large selection of beautiful cars that all handled pretty differently. The game strikes a great balance between fairly realistic simulation-type driving and very fun, arcadey races and challenges. It's really easy to pick up and play a race, a speed test, advance the story, or just drive around the gorgeous scenery discovering more of the world. You're constantly being rewarded with new cars, comparisons to your friends who are playing, ways to customize your character, and chipping away at completing the game. Whether I was looking to be the fastest racer out there or just mess around in some nice cars, it was a fun time. Number 4 is a very long-awaited sequel to a mind-bending 3D platforming adventure, Psychonauts 2. Developed by Double Fine and many years in the making, Psychonauts 2 builds on everything people loved about the first game, but polishes it to a mirror shine. You are Raz, a new member of the Psychonauts, an espionage agency that uses their psychic powers to stop nefarious forces out in the world. You travel around using powers like telekinesis and levitation to get where you need to go. The movement, platforming, and collectible finding all feel really great. But what I loved most about Psychonauts 2 is the worlds it creates. A big part of being a Psychonaut is diving into other people's brains, finding their emotional baggage, learning their hopes and fears. And every brain you visit is an amazingly cohesive space, representing the character they belong to perfectly. One of the standouts to me was a psychedelic romp through the Psy-King Sensorium, which melded music with every other sense as you reunite the members of a band. There was also an incredibly fun and silly cooking challenge level where you needed to find and prepare ingredients to present to a judging panel of puppets. These levels looked and sounded amazing, and I was so impressed by the surreal art direction. Every brain world was such a joy to experience and made Psychonauts 2 one of the most memorable games I've played this year. Number 3 is an intriguing time-looping mystery set in the past, The Forgotten City. The Forgotten City was developed by Modern Storyteller. This game started its life a number of years ago as a Skyrim mod. After it became incredibly popular, creator Nick Pierce decided to turn it into its own game. And what an accomplishment this turned out to be. After discovering ancient Roman ruins, you somehow travel 2,000 years into the past and have to solve the mystery of how the city was destroyed. This place was built upon the Golden Rule, where if one person committed a crime, the whole city would crumble. Throughout your time in the game, you'll meet a bevy of interesting characters who can help you solve the mystery, as well as inspire new ones. It's very open, giving you free rein to explore and investigate as you see fit. It's also designed in a way that makes repeating things as minimal as possible. Though you are playing the same day over and over again, there are mechanics in place to let other characters deal with the early actions that need to transpire to allow you to progress. And when you do start unraveling things, it's exceptionally satisfying. A few of the reveals and puzzle solutions that involved manipulating the time loop really delighted me. This is a wonderful adventure to lose yourself in, with a story that just gets better as it goes. When it came down to my final top 2 of the year, it was really a toss-up. Either of these games could have easily taken the top spot. Number 2 is a somewhat spooky and very metatextual genre mashup. It's Inscryption. Inscryption by Daniel Mullins Games is a deck-building card game. And it's a roguelike. And a puzzle game. And a few other things. You start the game sitting at a table. A pair of disembodied eyes stare back at you and accept the challenge that you're apparently presenting. Then, you get dealt some cards. You start to learn the rules of this game. I've played my share of deck builders, and the mechanics here are rock solid. You need to sacrifice cards to get the energy to play others, and can use the bones of defeated cards for this purpose as well. Slowly, new rules and layers get built onto the game, and it's a really fun system to learn. But that's not all. You're not stuck at this table. You can get up, wander around a spooky cabin, and find escape room-like puzzles that may open up new cards, or hints on how to succeed in your card-playing journey. If you've played other Daniel Mullins games, you may have some idea of where things may be going, but if you haven't, just sit back and enjoy the ride. This game is more than it seems. While it is always a card battler at its core, it's constantly changing and evolving and presenting you with an increasingly engaging story. If you like your games weird and mysterious, this one will hook you right away. And now, it's time for my favorite game of the year. I have done a full review of this game on my channel, and more than any other game this year, it's one I just didn't want to put down. It wears its classic gaming inspirations on its sleeve, but just executes everything so well. It's Astalon: Tears of the Earth. Astalon: Tears of the Earth was developed by Labsworks. You play as 3 different characters who are out to save their village from poisoned water by delving into a twisted tower that seems to be the source of the problem. Each character has their own unique abilities which will be needed to progress, in addition to having a different fighting style. The game feels great to play, with smooth, responsive movement and new abilities as you go. You can also use currency to level up and get new skills for each character. The balance between combat, platforming, and exploration is just about perfect. But it is the map that makes Astalon an exceptional game for me. You're constantly being presented with barriers that you'll look forward to unlocking. There's a secret or two on almost every screen, whether it be breakable walls, puzzles, challenges to kill every enemy, or a clever use of your abilities. The feeling of progress is consistently rewarding, giving you currency, new abilities and keys, filling out your bestiary, finding a shortcut or a new elevator to fast travel to. Maybe even finding new characters. I was constantly engrossed making my way up this tower, and I never wanted to stop playing. I truly turned this game on whenever I had any bit of free time until I had finished it. It was really that good, and I always wanted to know what would be there for me to find next. So those were my top 10 games of 2021. I hope you found something interesting here, maybe a new game that you want to check out yourself. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite games from this year were. I hope you have a very happy new year, and I will see you soon. If you want to see more, check out my Games of the Year from 2020, or another of my videos. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.